Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Kahaloyim Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakahakwadash, double honors to our apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone, the ones that rule well over the flock of Israel. Shalom and salutations to you, Akim, out here who are pushing the words of truth and sincerity. Shalom to all the Lord's elect, Akim and Akwafim, scattered Israelites and Israelite foreigners. Abarat Lord willing. This video is edifying. It's the brothers here at Great Millstone, a branch here at Birmingham, Alabama. Coming back again. It's myself, Rapal Moth, alongside Priest Raheem and Priest Aidan. Today's lesson is the Bible predicted hypersonic missiles. And you could also put in there ICBMs, which stands for intercontinental ballistic missiles. And then the last part, it says, and the result is death. All right. The scriptures is clear that this is going to be a great judgment in the future, in the near future. All right. The scriptures talk about trumps, and all the way up to seven vials, seven bowls, all of them being poured out in the times we're living in now. It's very clear that the third war's woe is beginning soon. And all of these different advocates for peace, it's all going to come to naught because the messages, again, is clear and decisive that the Heavenly Father wants World War III to begin, and he wants it to devastate Babylon, America. So it's going to be used, a lot of these missiles and ICBMs or warheads that we're going to talk about are going to be used on America. The judgment of Yahweh Shemi Shah, who is the Heavenly Father, his Son, and the Holy Spirit, is about to take place in our lifetimes. And we're locked and loaded and ready for it through the Spirit of our power, Yahweh Shemi Shah. All right, you didn't vote for this. Nuclear war is not going to be voted upon. All right, it doesn't matter how much money you got in your bank account. It doesn't matter what your personality type is or love language. When that radiation hit and that nuclear wind blast incinerates everything around you. All right, can we pull up the a nuclear triad real quick? This is what pretty much ensures that World War III will devastate the entire world, but mainly here in America as prophesied. But this is something that lets you know that it won't be just one missile shot by one side and one enemy will overpower the rest. No, it'll be a consistent launching of missiles until there are no missiles left and warheads left to launch. Go ahead. Can you read that?
So nuclear triad in the Google AI overview, it says a nuclear triad is a three-pronged military force structure that allows a country to deliver nuclear weapons via land, sea, and air. The primary purpose of a triad is nuclear deterrence through survivability. By splitting weapons across three distinct platforms, a nation ensures that even if an enemy destroys one or two legs in a surprise first strike attack, the remaining leg can launch a devastating second strike retaliation. This concept underpins the Cold War strategy of mutually assured destruction. MAD.
Right. And I'm glad they put that there. Let's get the definition of nuclear. And what you could do is write down at the bottom and say, ask anything. Just put right there, what does MAD mean? Because these weapons is going to be shot from all the ends of the earth, but from the sea and from land as well. We're going to go into some of those instruments that were created to waste. Go ahead.
MAD stands for Mutually Assured Destruction, a Cold War military strategy and national security doctrine built on the premise that a full-scale use of nuclear weapons by two opposing sides would result in the complete annihilation of both the attacker and the defender. It says, under MAD, nuclear weapons are not meant to be used to win a war. Instead, they serve as the ultimate psychological deterrent. The strategy guarantees that if a country, it's like the The strategy guarantees that if country A launches a surprise nuclear first strike to destroy country B's surviving forces, often protected by a nuclear triad, will still launch a devastating second strike, ensuring both nations are destroyed.
So nobody wins here, right? Except the ones that escape it. And what we find out throughout the scriptures is very hard. It's you cannot carnally escape these missiles because they're going to be launched everywhere in all directions, especially in the United States. But there is a salvation for his elect. The Lord's elect will be beamed up out of World War III. So we also going to talk about different sides of the arsenals. You got Russia, you got China, you got India, Pakistan has nukes, State of Israel has nukes. We all know Iran is trying, but it's pretty much obvious that they have nukes, or else this war wouldn't be really waged on them. Okay, and then the United States of America has nukes, France has nukes. Um, I don't believe any African countries have nukes, but Britain has nukes. Okay, and so everything's going to escalate. Once one is shot, then the rest of them is going to go up in the air, and that's just how the Lord is planning on destroying this place. Let me get real quick. Joel 3, verse 10.
The book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 10, it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong.
Right. And even as you can see it, even in the verses above, it goes into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and there's a calling for all the warriors to come together and fight this last battle and be prepared for it. And you see there, beat your plowshares into swords. A plowshare is an instrument that would normally be used to cultivate the earth, agriculture, whatnot. And it's no coincidence that all the farms is being bought up for data centers. And a lot of these data centers is where Palantir and a lot of these war technology, the what you want, forget the name of them companies utilize these technologies, man. All right, so more weapons is what this scripture is referring to. Beat your plowshares into swords. Make more swords. What's a modern day sword? Is a thermonuclear missile or a hypersonic missile, which is an elevated nuclear missile. All right. Was that it on verse 10?
Yeah, verse 10.
Con. And at one point, this is opposed to the verse in Isaiah, the second chapter, where at some point in time, all of the swords will be beaten down back into plowshares, showing you that war isn't going to be forever. War is a thing that ends during this last phase of war, World War III. All right, where you'll have NATO fighting against America. Yup, they'll break their alliance and come against each other. You'll have Russia, China shooting missiles at America because of largely of what's going on in the Middle East. Russia's going to be a guard. Matter of fact, can we get Ezekiel 38? Russia's going to be a guard and is being a guard unto Persia. We could start around verse 7. Let's just jump to the point.
Ezekiel 38 and verse 7, it says, be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
Be thou a guard unto them. And it's naming the countries up above. You see it in verse 5. Persia is one of them. So Persia is modern day Iran. So when you jump to verse first, let's read 1 and 2.
Ezekiel 38 and 1, and the word of the Lord Yahweh by Shemashai came unto me, saying, son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
That's that Russia. It's all Russia, man. Gog, the land of Gog, is Russia. Meshach, Tubal. Go ahead, out.
And say,
and prophesy against them. Yep. So the prophecy stating that Russia is going to be a defense to Persia, Iran now, That's what's going on in the Middle East right now. You know, a lot of U.S. military bases is being located, found, and hit directly with Iranian missiles and ballistic missiles at that. So Russia right now is helping them out with where to launch and land their missiles, giving them guidance. You know, what's it called? GPS guidance. All right. So let's type in nuclear exchange because that MAD is basically saying that there's going to be a exchange of weapons. And this is the at the top level of devastation is a nuclear exchange. See, it's all been prophesied of that a third world war is coming, destruction is coming, death is coming. It's the result of all this wickedness that's been abound because a wicked empire is ruling the world right now, and people can shamelessly walk around in defense of that or just ignoring that because you got bills to pay and things of that nature. But the Lord is not a respecter of persons. He doesn't care how comfortable you can make yourself in an evil, wicked society. If anything, the Lord prescribed us to cry aloud and spare not, and cry, sigh, and cry for the abominations done in the midst of. We're basically exposing the wickedness in order for retaliation, lack of better words, for salvation. Go ahead, out.
Kind of nuclear exchange. A nuclear exchange is a euphemism used in military strategy and geopolitical analysis to describe a nuclear war. Specifically, it refers to a scenario where two or more nuclear armed nations launch and exchange nuclear missiles at each other's territories. So rather than a single one sided bombing, like the atomic attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, an exchange implies a two-way back and forth conflict involving a first strike attack and a subsequent retaliatory response.
Yeah,
It says
there you go. Yeah, that was good. And this is what's let's type in nuclear impact projections. Like what's going to happen once these nukes land? Because we're going to get into why they so hard to once you learn the technology of the nuke and the missile, you learn how hard it is to knock it out the sky and prevent it. So you could already jump to the page where they detonate over the cities in America. Go ahead.
nuclear impact projections. It says nuclear impact projections quantify the immediate, medium term, and global atmospheric consequences of a nuclear weapon detonation based on physics models, climate simulations, and agricultural research. So rather than estimating the impact of a single bomb, modern research focuses on systematic, interconnected failures across global ecosystems. Supercomputer simulations analyze scenarios ranging from a localized regional conflict to a full scale superpower exchange.
So let's hear that immediate. Yep.
It's like immediate impact projections, day 1 through 3. It says the initial casualties and damage are heavily concentrated within the targeted areas, counterforce or counter value strikes. Right, you got detonation, EMP flash, thermal radiation, shockwave, firestorms, grid field, vaporization, blast, mass fire.
And they say you see that vaporization.
Mhm.
Um, let's get real quick because that's what's going to happen, man. What is the vaporization? Well, that's that thermal radiation. You don't even got to be in the fireball to burn up, right? You could be a few miles away, and that intense fireball still burn you up. That's that thermal radiation where everything ignites is spontaneous combustion. Can we get Zechariah 14 and 12? Said vaporization. That's a heavy word, man. See, the target is you people out here. All right. And once that war is authorized, it's basically a turning of two keys. That's how Russia got their setup. They got like two keys and they get the order and they hit that button. Once that button, that thing launches up in the air, it evades anti-ballistic missiles from the US STADS system. And then it detonates about a mile above the Earth's surface, man. Flash. All right. But instantly you're gonna start feeling the melting process happening, the vaporization. Go ahead, Doc.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes,
So
and
this
their
is the yeah, this is this telling, man. You know, this is Zechariah's prophecy. He also saw the nuclear flash. He saw the vaporization. He saw the detonation of the nuke. He saw the ICBM reaching over to those that fought against Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a people first. So all the Israelites over here in America that's been, condemned to die under this unjust system. Wars waged against us from the time era of smallpox all the way up until now. What's happening is this is the prophecy concerning what's going to happen and take place in this land based upon all the blood that was shed. And the Most High is sick and tired of it. Therefore, he's going to end it. And he's using their own tools to do it. Seeing how they were able to invent a nuke to destroy people, but weren't able to invent a reason or something to save them from the destruction. They can invent more weapons. They can invent more things to destroy, but can't invent more ways of peace. So it shows you that has but a short time. So while they stand upon their feet, that's a different kind of death right there. That means it happened instantly. You weren't able to run away or move. Your flesh consumed. That's a thermonuclear fireball, and it tells you that the magnitude of heat of some of the old technology, like the atom bombs and hydrogen, they were burning thousands of times hotter than the surface of the sun. So this technology was given to them by the Lord. And then it tells you, right? Can you read on again that part in their eyes?
Con, it says, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
Right. You can take it away for a second out.
Yeah, so the Bible is very vivid as far as the visions of the prophets of old, in which they all pretty much saw the end of this thing. They saw the conclusion of the heathen rulership, which would come through Esau, Edom, and so a lot of them got sick. Even second Edris says that who shall deliver me in those days? It was so devastating. Daniel got sick, but they couldn't really make out what they were seeing. All right, even when they was giving these words to write down and to warn, they didn't really know that there was going to be a time where nuclear weapons would be created to create this great destruction. So now when the time was all these things are coming together and we can put the pieces together, right? We can put it together and we can paint out the picture of what this is really talking about. Where in times past you couldn't make out what it was because it wasn't invented yet. That's why Daniel says that what knowledge should be increased, roughly paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
So now when the time was, it makes perfect sense about what this is talking about. What other weapon or instrument is able to consume flesh in this way? All right, other than the missiles, they gotta be the missiles, man. Why you? Because they got movies like the other the Apostle Rakha, not Rakha, Ramla was going to the day, like they make movies, which is pretty much predictive programming, and they show you exactly pretty much what's coming in the future. And that's the spirit of the Lord, putting that in the minds of these directors to create these different movies, such as what Judgment Day, when Sarah Connor was on the fence and her skin was consumed away after the nuke struck. That's gonna be a reality soon, man. That's what you're reading right here. You got some up?
Yeah, if I may add, and to your point, because like you just mentioned earlier, how this is the only weapon that can achieve these different things. Baba Bashar, you can get that Second Peter's 3:10.
God.
Because again, at the end of the day, how about Shema Shai have really put the spirit on Esau to create something so great that he's actually going to destroy himself. And you got to realize why you go back into the early 2000s, those guys ransacked the Middle East, and the whole commotion was about what? The weapons of mass destruction. you know, because Esau know the power that these things can do. You got it, bro.
Mm-hmm. 2 Peter 3:10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the
Mhm.
heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up.
Yeah, and that's it. Because when you go back to the Google AI that the priest just read, it just mentioned about nuclear heat and how it's so many times hotter than the sun. You know, and you can see why the Lord have compared the nuclear missiles to the weapons of His indignation. Because when the Lord bring out those ICBMs, there's really the fury of the Lord that's going to be on display. It's no coincidence. Even amongst Jake, they say I'm heated. What does that mean? You know, even then when they got a strap, I'm finna go get my fire. What does that mean, man? Judgment is finna get ready to come to pass. And then for these, ignorant Americans and also these ignorant Israelites who don't really talk about these things, the ICBM nuclear missiles is a major player here in these latter days. You got it, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yep, seeing all these things shall be dissolved. What manner of
Hmm.
persons ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness?
And
It
that's
says,
it. Seeing then that all these things is going to be dissolved. All these things is going to be melted. Even the works. Even you read that Zechariah, how your eyes is going to burn in your eyes and your tongue is going to burn in your mouth. And even before your eyes get melted, you're going to see things get burnt around you. So ultimately, you can see the type of judgment that's going to get ready to be pushed forth throughout the planet Earth. What type of person ought you to be? Should you be a person investing in Babylon and going to Dollars Day and we got Men's Day the next Sunday? No, you should be in the spirit of Ezra, like priest just mentioned also. Woe is me, who shall deliver me in those days? And even Habakkuk said, I have heard thy speech and was afraid, man.
mm-hmm,
Because here in these latter days, when the Lord start pushing forth his judgment, and we want mercy from this, man. We don't want no parts of these intercontinental ballistic missiles, because again, that's going to be the fury of the Lord shown forth. You got it, bro.
mm-hmm. Yeah, again, looking forward and hastening unto the coming of the day of Yahweh Vashimel Shai, wherein the heavens
Mhm.
being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
And right there, you see, it says the heavens being on fire. You going to heavens is actually talking about a rulership. And the reason why the Lord is finna get ready to burn up his rulership, you say, why y'all always talking about destruction? Why y'all always talking about Mills? Because once the destruction come to pass, then we can actually rest. Once the destruction come to pass, then the kingdom of heaven can surely be brought forth. Because the Lord is not going to let this wicked kingdom stand, and all of a sudden the kingdom of heaven is going to be stacked on top of it. No, the Lord is finna get ready to bring a clean slate. What that is in the book of Jeremiah, the Lord bring a besom, of
Mm-hmm.
destruction. You know what that's in?
Yeah, I can find.
Uh, yeah, come Papa, gonna try to pull that up real quick because at the end of the day, that besom of destruction, and even then, they say even the aftershock, that's one of the most dangerous things. A million degrees of heat waves coming towards you. But again, that besom of destruction is not just going to be to kill people and knock things off and destroy buildings. No, that's going to be the Lord sweeping away righteousness, sweeping away wickedness, so He can establish righteousness. You got it, Lot.
Hmm. God, Isaiah 14:23. I will also make
Mm-hmm.
it a possession for the bittern and pools of water,
Mm-hmm.
and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord Yahweh Shemashah of hosts.
Yes, said the Lord Yahweh Shemel shall host. You go into the word host, it actually means the Lord of armies. So Yahweh Shemel
Mm,
Shai, he's finna get ready to introduce himself here in these latter days as Alashijah, that terrible demon-like power. And you're going to see that terrible demon-like power when those missiles get shot off, man. That's going to be a part of the anger of the Lord because his spirit is actually going to be in those missiles, man. You know?
hmm Got
And
something for you,
again, the
bro.
missiles.
Oh, sorry, you got
Oh,
it.
you
Go
got it,
ahead.
bro. Oh,
You good?
yeah, yeah. You got you go ahead. Get your precept real quick.
Yeah, just add on to your point about the Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies, because
Mhm.
it speaks about in Joel how he would utter his voice before his army. I got to Joel too, because when you go into Joel, it's really going to like a dark parable relating back into the scriptures, touching down on American Babylon the Great. So when you scroll up, yep, to verse 11, it says, "And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army." And that voice represents the prophets. The prophets had to warn you first before the ultimate destruction came forth. So when you see his eye on the highways and byways, right, it's not like it's just some light thing, just men out here preaching that America gonna be destroyed. We got missile signs and stuff. Russia gonna destroy America. No, this is what the Lord has decreed. But again, it had to be what's spoken first before what his actual army. It says, "For his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word." See, for the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? And so, just going back on that armory, I think there's Jeremiah 15:25. Yep. And let me scroll up, see what it's talking about. Yep, this is talking about America. And I'll start at verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? America, Babylon the Great, is the hammer, the nation that beats down different nations and takes their resources. How is Babylon becoming desolation among the nations? So this is after the fact, right? How is Babylon becoming desolation? So it ain't happened yet, but it's gonna happen. So I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken on Babylon. So as you see things accumulating in the Middle East with Trump forcing his hand, crossing over boundaries, with Iran, he's doing nothing more than enticing the different nations to get into it as well. All right. It says, but that's ultimately going back into the Lord setting up Esau in America. And thou was not aware. See, they're not aware of what they're doing because of their pride. Thou art found and also caught because thou hast striven against the Lord. So the Lord is pretty much setting up America for destruction because of their disobedience, their everything they have done to the Hebrew Israelites, and to the world, man. They went against the Most High and His ordinance. So here's the point: the Lord Yahweh Shemashai opened His armory. See, that's their host, and that brought forth the weapons of His indignation. And the nation goes into what righteous anger. So this right here is talking about the ICBMs preparing for Babylon the Great, the hammer of the earth. How is it become a desolation? So these weapons, as we mentioned in Zechariah 14:12, it had to be talking about a nuke or nuclear weapons to consume the skin, the eyes, tongue, and all that. For this is the work of the Lord of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Chaldeans represents your magicians, your wise men. And in these times, it's talking about the elite bankers in which they built America as a corporation. And this is the land that's pushing forth abominations. So these weapons also go back into what the nuclear weapons. All right, not just conventional swords and you know, but y'all got it.
Hey, if I may, I could you pull up that video? Were you able to
I forgot to get it. Can you close me out real quick?
okay, yeah, I got you real
Right.
quick. Hold on, let me share my screen.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
it right there. That's your boy right there with the ICBM. All right. That's what we gotta be prepared for and ready for, man. And they was making mockery,
Mhm.
but really it was spiritual, man. And as the elder made the point, Elder Ron made the point that you see, that was the thing that made the other guy walk away. They was going back and forth with different guns and but ultimately he had one of those in the back of the UPS van. What he was doing with it, Lord no. But he had one. I think it said USSR on it. Oh yeah, it got it.
Yeah.
You zoom. Yep, it got USSR right there. I'm gonna zoom in. You know, that's that Soviet Russian.
USSR.
You know, yeah. He said that right. And there's missiles on missiles, man. These guys got the momentum to build different kind of missiles. Then they didn't like the fact that there was anti-ballistic missiles in America with their proud speech. They started boasting about it. Well, we can knock that out the sky. So then they came back, doubled down, and made something called the MERS, you know, and they made so many different ones. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it on. Adon, you ready?
Yeah.
Kind. We could just we're gonna let it play for a minute just to get the gist of what we talking about, what these missiles actually be looking like. Hold on, let me remove mine. Share yours. Yeah, go ahead. Let that play.
I come.
You might have to shut it down to share your screen again. That's what it is.
Okay.
One more time. Let's get our boy back up in.
Like, yeah.
And this is the series. This is what's going on, man. It's the series. Hey, Raheem, Baba Shah, can you look up scale of nuclear blast? Just look up and read what that says. AI overview, if you could, because it's coming, man. You know, this is the prophecy for tomorrow. This is the, not tomorrow, the next day, but tomorrow is symbolically everything from now on. This is what the Lord had declared, and we went through it. And again, a bunker isn't a viable way to escape these, because you're going to see that they got certain missiles that can penetrate the earth. You got that keyed up? Okay.
Con,
Go ahead, Ryan.
Con. This is AI overview. Nuclear blast scale is measured the explosive energy of TNT, equivalent and ranging from kilotons, thousands of tons to megatons. It says the Hiroshima was 15 kilotons. Modern strategic warheads range from 100 to 455 kilotons,
Mm,
and a historic test like the Soviet Bomber reached 50 megatons.
50 megatons. All right. So we're talking about super radiation, large scale detonation, super large firebomb. All right. Fatalities. Okay. And devastation. And that was just a test. And they haven't tested it since. And there hasn't been a bigger, larger bomb since, at least one that people know about. All right. So this is why I say you're going to have a fear. Go ahead. I done with that. Okay. Yeah, it's still one. You know what? Just play it in the background. That's all good. Just play
I
it.
got
Keep it
some.
on in the background. Go ahead.
Y'all got something real
And I
quick.
hear echo. Is that you? I done? It might just be your side.
Is the echo on?
I
Only
think
when
that's
I
you,
speak.
Dequan.
Is it my side? I got my headphones in. Yeah, mute up real quick. Let me see. Let me check it out. Yeah, that's you, I done. Because when I hit your mute, it goes away. That's not you, Ryan.
Okay, it's like, yeah. What the hell going on?
It's all good. Let's go back to what you had, Ryan.
Con, I just
If
got
you're
some
able to
bad
keep
go.
that, videos playing in the background, I done. And Raheem, could you just read what you got?
Con, just a bad go. The ICBM. This the book of Isaiah 9 and verse 5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and
Hmm.
garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire."
Hmm.
And if I may, just adding back into the elder was talking about the scene from Don't Be a Menace from Society, and when at the end the guy had the ICBMs, but it just shows you the World War Three, which will be the wars that will end all wars. Ultimately, it's going to end up with the nuclear missiles because there's nothing you can do to revert that. And this is why all these Edomites, they're so scared to use it, Because back in the day, you can fight or whatever. Then you can wait. I will get them in the next couple of years. But once this fight go off, everything is really going to be burnt down. That's why it says, "In this war shall it be with burning and fuel of fire." And this putting the
Mhm.
intercontinental ballistic missiles upon the scene. Because again, ever since Esau got into power, war have been involved. You go into World War I, trench warfare. Then you go into World War II with the different dog fighters and these different things, semi-automatic guns, and it ended off with the surf bomber. So just imagine the weaponry and the technology that this guy's bringing forth with World War III. Because again, Esau, he's finna get ready to bring out all stops, man. And really, a part of those all stops is the intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. And Yahweh Shem Shah is going to be the one that's going to put the spirit on this guy to use it. You know?
Now, somebody look up SLBM real quick. What they were just showing on the screen was a nuclear submarine. And now they're showing you the result of a Trident. Okay, a Trident missile. Somebody else look up Trident 2. And whoever got first. Yeah, these missiles, this is, I believe, is America's. Yep, it says Britain and America. So this is their system. And of submarine class nuclear warheads. Anybody got some about that
That they
Trident or that
what you want?
SLBM? Go ahead.
I got the SLBM.
Go for it.
It says an SLBM is a submarine launch ballistic missile. It says a nuclear armed weapon fired from underwater inside submerged submarines.
So that's them SLBMs, right? And their weapon is of choice from the SLBM is a Trident. I got it. It says the Trident 2 D5. They would just had it on the screen. It says a submarine launch ballistic missile featuring solid fuel propulsion, intercontinental range, and multiple warhead capabilities. Because that's something that when you look into, a lot of these weapons are multiple warhead. All right, and let me see. You type in the word MERS. Let me see warhead. The term is MERS, MERS. It says, let me see. It's not going into it. It's talking about COVID. No, that ain't it. Trying to find where it said nuclear warhead. But basically, the word MERS is multiple warheads at a time. Okay, MERV technology pulled up. It says multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles allow a single missile. This is it, to carry several individual nuclear warheads targeting separate locations. MERV, Salakia, MIRV. So one of these missiles launched, like the ones on the screen, can hold multiple. Now, when you're dealing with Russia's top, what you call it, warhead, it's called the Sarmat, the RS-28 Sarmat. All right, and I'm gonna mute you for a second. I'm done. Yep, the RS-28 Sarmat. But the UN calls it the Satan 2, or NATO calls it Satan 2, not the UN. And it's got MERV technology. So it's got it's a nuclear, it's a ballistic missile, ICBM, but it carries multiple MERVs, reentry vehicles that target any area it wants. All right. And this is their top premier weapon. It can hit anywhere on the US. 10 different Metroton glide missiles can come out of it. There's something called the payload. How much devastation, how much can it hold? And then it can hold something called the hypersonic glide vehicles, right? Which It's an ICBM that shoots in the air, the Satan 2, but then out of it come hypersonic glide vehicles, multiple of them. And them things, it says, exceeds Mach 5. So we're talking about launch, we're talking about glide. It says ranging from Mach 5, Salakia, up to Mach 27. It says to skip and glide toward the target. I mean, these things can spin on you. It says maneuverability of the hypersonic glide vehicles perform sharp horizontal and vertical evasive adjustments during descent, complicating missile tracking and prediction. Russia, theirs is called the Avant-Garde HGV, 20 to 27 Mach speeds. China has a Dongfang, okay? The Dongfang from China, which the word Dongfang, we go over it often. It means east wind, if I'm not mistaken. Does anybody could verify that? Okay. I'm gonna look it up too. Dongfang, yep, east wind. That's the name of their missile, the east wind. And if you could, can you type in also, oh yeah, go ahead. What you got there? All right, done. I'm gonna take you off the, you got it. You can speak on it.
God, am I still echoing? Am I good?
It's only when I speak, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so Dunfang. It says Dunfang literally translates to Chinese as East Wind, and most commonly refers to Dunfang Motor Corporation.
Right.
You
Now
know, which
type in Dongfang D or Dongfang 5 missile. So now we know Dongfang means east wind. Why is that important? The scriptures talk about holding back the winds. We're gonna get that too. There you go, Dongfang.
God, Dongfang 5 missile. It says the Dongfang 5 or DL5 is a Chinese two-stage silo launch liquid fueled intercontinental ballistic missile. It serves as a foundational pillar of China's land-based nuclear deterrence or deterrent force. Developed during the Cold War, it was China's first true ICBM capable of reaching the continental United States and Western Europe.
Type in real quick. What does the Bible say about the east wind? What does the Bible say about the east wind?
God, so what does the Bible say about the east wind? In the Bible, the east wind is almost always a symbol of destruction, judgment, and the sovereign power of the Most High Yahweh. Originating from the hot, arid Arabian deserts, the wind brought scorching heat, withered crops, and violent storms to the ancient Near East.
So there you go. It's even spiritual. That is called the east wind. Can we get Revelation 7? Start at 1.
In the book of Revelation, chapter 7, verse 1, it says, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, and neither the sea, and nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads."
Yeah, and that sealing is going to give us salvation. Can you look up that word wind?
God, so this word wind, Strong G 417. So it says, wind, a violent agitation and stream of air. A very strong, tempestuous wind. The 4th principle or cardinal winds, hence the 4 corners of heaven. It says in Strong's definition. That's pretty much it on that.
Okay. Let me go to the root real quick. Let's see what that says.
Okay. All right, so it says the air, particularly the lower and denser air, as distinguished from the higher and the rarer air, the atmospheric region.
Okay. All right. So I mean, as you can see, that wind is basically that what you call it, not shock wave. Yeah, shock wave,
Aftershock.
um, aftershock, the water.
Mhm.
It's the aftershock and the shock wave of that first of those missiles detonating. You see? And the way that they detonated is because they didn't get struck down. In the book of Joel, I believe it says they shall not break their ranks in. What's that? It says they will not bump or
And they
knock
fall
into
upon
each
the
other.
sword.
Yeah. Rocket shop, you know where that's at.
God.
I got some real quick one. He getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah 51. Yeah, Jeremiah 51 and 1. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, behold, I will rise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind.
Mm.
If I may,
Yep.
this talk about the aftershocks the elder
Mm-hmm.
was just mentioning, man. That million-degree wind that's gonna flow through the planet Earth to clean things up, you know.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Out.
God, in the book of Joel 2 and verse 7, it says, they shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks.
Yeah, they don't break their ranks. They climbing walls because the defense of an ancient world is a wall. And now the defenses of the modern world or modern warfare defenses is anti-ballistic missiles. That's what the THAAD system is all about. That's what a Golden Dome. Can you type that in real quick? Golden Dome. So these missiles have to evade THAAD and the Golden Dome. What is the Golden Dome? Yeah, let's see what it say. That should be enough. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Golden Dome, the term Golden Dome most prominently refers to either the groundbreaking U.S. space-based missile defense initiative or the iconic historical landmark at the University of Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's that defense initiative, and you see they're going up to space to do it. Look at that. Talks about the Star Wars program. Okay, so this is what Space Force is really about. It's trying to eliminate the threat of nuclear attack from space, right? Whereas can you grab Second Ezra 16 and 13? We're gonna go back to what we had to.
Like Second Ezra 16
Yep.
and verse 13.
Yeah.
So it says, for strong,
Mhm.
it's like,
No, you got it.
for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world.
Shot from the ends of the world. So they're coming over here all the way from Russia, China, and even in NATO countries. Shot from the ends of the earth. So the only way you could try to get that is to shoot it down. And if you got satellites or space, weapons, you could try to attempt to shoot it down, but the arrows are too sharp. And that sharp goes into how fast they are. The sharper a sword is, the better or more equipped it is, to break through the armor. And if you can go back to, you could read that last verse.
Kind 14, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return until they come upon the earth.
There you go. And it talks about basically how, you can't put the bow or the arrow back in the quiver once it's shot off, man. So this is ancient world language for modern day weaponry. All of these prophets who we were reading of. Ezra saw the end times. He saw the thermonuclear destruction. He saw the winds being released. Right? Isaiah saw it. Jeremiah saw it. Ezekiel saw it. John the Revelator saw it. Moses saw it. Talks about Moses understanding the ends of the world.
Mhm.
So this is just the end of Esau's reign. Can we go back to Joel real quick?
Joel 2 and verse 8. Neither shall they thrust, it's like a neither shall one thrust another, and neither, and it's like they shall walk everyone in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they should not be wounded.
There you go. So they're not going to bump into each other. They all got ranks, just like a military parade. They all marching in their ranks toward, America, where they're being shot off at. And you can see they got GPS satellite systems. They're guided missiles. We just talked about the murder, how each one of these warheads that come out of an ICBM, like a Sarmat 2 or a Dongfang, they have multiple systems in it that deliver warheads to different destinations. So one missile could technically deliver a warhead to Chicago, Miami, New York City, Los Angeles, Dallas, right? At one time. That's one missile. So imagine, 200 million warheads in all of the missiles, in all of the arsenals of every country. So what's about to happen? What y'all brothers got?
I got
Con,
you got it up.
what the elder just quoted in Revelations 9, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at verse 13. It says, and the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which were bound in the great river Euphrates. And if I may, this is talking about the same thing in Revelation the 7th chapter. The Lord, He's holding it back, but it's going to be a time when the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Shai, is going to do what He's supposed to do. He's going to let it loose. Continuing on, it says, and the four angels was loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men. Now again, the Lord got everything predestinated, and we don't know what day that the Lord is going to come, but we can see that day is coming very soon. And it says, what, to destroy the third part of men. We already know it's the sons of the Most High, the sons of the heathen, the other nations. Then it's the sons of the perditions, which is Esau, Edom. You go into the word perdition, it actually goes back into what? Destruction, man. So even the Heavenly Father have used this guy nickname, again, the word perdition. He used it as an omen. So the Lord is going to let Esau, Edom live up to his name here in these latter days. It says, in the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. Now, again, you say, what about, it ain't that many missiles upon the planet Earth? 200, what you talking about? No, you guys are not acquainting the warheads. Because if I'm not mistaken, one missile can hold like 100 or some warheads, man. And just imagine what the big boys do, like Sing 2. They say Sing 2, just one of them can destroy Texas as a whole, you know? But again, just going back into that Joel, the 2nd chapter, how when the Lord pushed forth these things, it's actually going to be like an army. And it's going to be nothing that Esau can do to stop it, man. It's going to march all the way down until it do what? Hit Babylon the Great. It's target point, man. It says, verse 17, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. And that's it, man. Because again, what John is basically seeing, the process of those intercontinental ballistic missiles getting shot off, man. Getting pushed out into the air, flowing over into his targeting spot. And even those warheads re-entering the atmosphere. John is saying all those things. That's why he compared the missiles re-entering the atmosphere as a head of a lion. You know, it's
Hmm.
gonna look like a lion's mane, but really it's gonna be a speeding giant nuclear bullet that's gonna come down to put in work. You know, it says by these three were the third part of men killed by fire and by smoke and by brimstone, which issue out of their mouths. For the power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And that's the spirit. Why it's talking about in heads and with them they do hurt. That's talking about the warheads that's going to be that's going to be in the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Again, this is going to be the tool that the Lord is going to use to end this system. And it's not going to be a way for this guy to resurrect, again, because one of the reasons why the Roman Empire resurrected, because it was just fought like old school war. Yeah, we're gonna bounce back. We're gonna rejoice again, like it says in Obadiah, the first chapter. We shall be rebuilt in desolate places. Once these nuclear missiles get shot off, it ain't gonna be no way you can rebuild here, man. And
Hmm.
again, that's what the Lord is doing, totally wiping away with wickedness in Esau, just so he can establish righteousness. So this is a necessary evil that must come to pass upon the planet Earth. You know.
Hmm.
Oh, if you could, and where it says, "Oh, for their tails were like under serpents," that's explaining
Mhm.
the ICBM. Most of the ICBM, except for the tip, where the head um, is fuel. And when it goes up into the air and it leaves that trail of smoke, it's likened unto a serpent. That's what he was seeing and relaying that in his terms. It looked like a serpent. And even when you see a snake, like let's say in sand, you can see a trail behind it. It leaves behind that trail. So he's seeing that serpent like ICBM being launched into the air. He's seen that launch and that tail behind it. Yep. And brother, you're saying it's just a direct strike. It's headed there like horses. They hurt like lion. You know, and that explosion devastated. There's a scripture that says, it shall be my sword shall be bathed in heaven. You look at where bathed up, it means like drunk and enraged, like how a drunken person acts and behaves. Because when that detonation process happens, the closest thing Isaiah could describe it as is as a drunk person. It just went mad and went crazy and insane. It just detonates. All of a sudden, you see a small speck with a tail behind it, kind of what John is seeing here, and then you see just light. And one of them articles I was reading, it says the during the test in the 40s, it was so bright when they detonated these bombs that they could see their skeleton through their hands. So that's the brightness of those missiles. And if you could type in missile guidance system, because we keep saying they something about break their ranks and they're gonna go to the effective place in which the Lord is pretty much gonna be with them guiding these missiles, angels, and there's guidance systems in it, man. Go ahead.
Missile guidance system. A missile guidance system is the internal technology that directs a missile from its launch point to its intended target. It acts as the brain and eyes of the missile, continuously calculating the weapon's current position, comparing it to the target's position, and sending steering commands to the missile's flight controls such as tail fins, canards, and thrust vectorial or vectoring nozzles.
Right. And them first missiles, or it's like them first bombs. Remember, they created the bomb before they created a missile. But it was Russia who had Slovakia, the Nazi Germany, who had V2 technology. Those were the first rockets. They were Nazi German scientists creating those, as well as a lot of the missile technology. That's who created the programs for the missiles. NASA was created by um uh, outed Nazi rocket scientists, and they created NASA out of that. There is no secret now. and then the Germans took Russia took the other portion of the German scientists and created their space program. And so the first bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that was dropped from a flight, from a plane, which they still have that technology. But now it got sharpened.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a missile guided system in there. It's operating and talking to the GPS space, it's streamlining straight to the satellites to get better targeting, down to the point where they could hit they could knock a bottle top off with the precision. So the weapons are that much sharper. Can we grab real quick Isaiah 54 and 16?
Spirit.
Okay. You got it out.
God, Isaiah 54 and 16, it says, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals and the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. You guys go on.
Okay. So, the Lord is doing that. You see how I created the smith to do that perfect job. So he's in control of everybody. All right. Even those who perform or make weapons, even down to the scientists, the Lord is in control of. And they didn't stop with the hydrogen bomb. They didn't stop with the atom bomb. More information came to these guys while they slept upon their bed. The Lord controlled their minds and caused them to think about splitting a nucleus instead of an atom. And they enriching uranium in that process. You see, it takes nations years to do that. But now everybody wants that technology. It's all spreading out. And as you can see, the waster, the instrument that the Lord brought forth was a waster. It was a weapon. The same weapons we going over, man. You got the Dong Fang, okay, which these are ICBM, so that technology had to be advanced. But then you got the actual warheads, right? Can you type in V-83 gravity bomb? They got so many different variations, man. We could sit here and talk about them all day. Gravity bomb is something that just, the impact is made by letting it fall, so it has to drop. Therefore, you got to kind of do it by a plane. You see the B-2 pops up. What they got?
B-83. The B-83 thermonuclear weapon, commonly referred to as a gravity bomb, is the most powerful nuclear weapon currently remaining in the United States military arsenal. First deployed in 1983, the unguided bomb is designed to be dropped from strategic stealth aircraft like the B-2 Spirit bomber. It is primarily intended to penetrate and destroy heavily fortified, deeply buried enemy infrastructure, such as underground command bunkers and missile silos.
So a bunker ain't a safe place.
Nah.
A bunker can't protect you. They got stuff for bunkers too. Those who are in the bunkers will be burned by bunker buster bombs like the B-83. And you can see they got the certain special aircraft to drop those things. It's all calculated. Then you got something called decoy warheads. You type that in? They got so advanced with it, with the technology, the anti-ballistic missiles and defense systems, that they just said, all right, we'll create decoys. So when these ICBMs go into the air and then they start to disperse, they make sure that the decoys go out too. Go ahead, read that.
Decoy warheads, technically known as penetration aids or PENAIDs, are fake, non-explosive structures deployed alongside real nuclear warheads by intercontinental ballistic missiles to confuse and overwhelm enemy anti-ballistic missile ABM defense systems.
There you go. Again, not to break the ranks. So while all the real missiles are landing, the decoys are getting knocked out there. And the Lord will just make it so that all the decoys get hit. So it's bad, man. It's coming down to the end of this thing. And it's all going to be a catastrophe. It's all going to be destruction. Can you type in Deuteronomy 32 and 41? Let me see if I want that one.
I think I was just looking for that one.
You know what? Grab. Yeah. Let's type out Joel 20 and 25 instead. It's two of them. They talk about the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Con.
Mm-hmm.
25.
You start at 24.
Con. Joel 20 and 24.
You
He
know
shall
what?
flee.
20. Keep going. Keep going. Now, hold on. Right there.
22. Con.
Yeah, black shot.
Joel 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits.
Sufficiency means you filled. Because he's sitting down to eat now. He's got his New World Order. All right. He got his Merkle trip. The elect are off the grid. So forth and so on. He's got control. And when he's about to be satisfied, then shall he be in straits, which is positions of difficulty. How so? Because the judgment of the Lord is about to rain down on his parade, on his feast. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So it says, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him.
That's that laborer. We go into that ad nauseum. You look that word up, it's labor. So Israel is getting a hand in that judgment as well. We know once Esau or America is done away with, they're going to be slaves for 1,000 years. So you see, once he's done, or once he's wiped out of power, then his real punishment begins. Go ahead.
It says, when he is about to fulfill his belly or fill his belly, Yahweh Shemashah shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating.
Rain it upon him while he's eating. And what rains comes from the heavens? ICBMs. There's a scripture that says he shall rain snares upon them. What's them snares? What's them, ICBMs, warheads falling. We just read a few. Dong Fang, to be exact, right? Trident, Poseidon. These are U.S. ones, but, Britain has that technology too. So if Britain has it, and they're part of NATO, and the beast shall hate the whore, then Poseidon's going to come raining down on America too. And those pretty much come from underwater, and then they hit the sea coast cities. And majority of the population of America, if I'm not mistaken, over like 75% of the population of the U.S. lives within 100 or 50 miles of the coastline. So them is going to be very important. All right, but you see, the Lord's wrath is upon him now. Go ahead.
It says, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall, and terrors are upon him.
And this ain't talking about a physical sword. All right, but this is just ancient world rendition of what will happen. Because what is a glittering sword? You could say the iron weapon is a sword and the bow of steel. No, they had steel bows back then, but no, bows were known not to be steel. That'd be a dirty bow. That'd be a useless bow. A bow of steel. They mostly wood. So a bow of steel and an iron weapon. That's talking about the silo and the ICBM that comes out of the silo.
Got a
That's striking. And they call it a missile strike. And then you see it's drawn, come out the body. Yeah, that's silo. And that's what MAD ensures, because if you know where the silo is, that means you could take out all of their arsenals, right? If you got an idea where their silos are, you could just knock out the silos, knock out the launch sites. But that's why he has them in the air, and he has them in his submarines. And the submarine could stay underwater. The nuclear submarines could stay underwater for 120 days without coming up. And they never need refueling because they're nuclear powered. They got enough fuel or nuclear power to run it for 30 years. So technically, if they got to come up just once every 120 days, they're impossible to spot. They could just be submerged under ice right now, with full of nukes, Poseidons and Tridents. All right. What else you got, bro?
Kind of real quick. Backing up that bow, Jeremiah 50 and 40, 42. And now to start at verse 41. So it said, behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation. That is talking about Russia, if I may. And many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. They shall hold the bow in the lands. So these nations holding the bow in the lands, as we going into, it cometh out of the body. That's talking about the silos. That's what's used to propel the arrow, which is the missile. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea. So, a regular arrow doesn't roar like the sea. So what kind of arrow can you use as a similitude that could kind of, make that out? Well, pretty much a warhead or a missile, it sounds like the roaring sea when they get shot off.
Mhm.
It says, and they shall ride upon horses, and everyone put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. So we see the target is America, Babylon the Great. So the nations are holding these ICBMs in the silos, preparing them to be shot. And that's going to be at the commandment of Yahweh Shema Shai. Yep, what you got is
Hey, real quick, let's type in RS-28 Sarmat launch, and let's get that sound. Let's find a video for it.
Okay.
Yeah, man. There you go. Yeah, that's the one right there. Well, then you know what? That's informal though. That's informal. Let's play that real quick.
Which one? Tell me this.
Yeah, this one. Do you have the sound?
My sound ain't playing for some reason.
Okay.
What happened, man?
Yeah, that's all right. Let's say doing this thing. But yeah, it's very easy to find. I can go ahead and type in, Sarmad and Dongfang and watch a few of these launches. A lot of them, I believe the Sarmat was last tested within the last 5-10 years. Okay, and then remember the range of these missiles, the ones that we talking about, Dongfang, Sarmat, and a few others. There's a Hwasong. I believe North Korea has one that reaches all the way to America now. They definitely had one before that reached California, but now they have one that could reach the entire continental U.S. And you don't hear a peep out of Trump about North Korea. It's all about Iran because Israel directs where the next attack is going to happen. Remember, this is going to be the beginning of the end for Esau and the beginning for Jacob, man. It's going to be the beginning of righteousness flourishing in the earth again. So we want this to happen. We ain't gotta, be all perplexed when the signs of it happening come. What you holding anything out?
I had
Let's
some
get.
real quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
Con. This the book of Psalms chapter 7. And I'm gonna start at verse, just getting back into those arrows. This is Psalms 7, and I'm gonna start at verse 12. It says, if he turn not, he will whet his sword. He hath bent his bow and made it ready. And a part of that bow being bent is these different missiles that's in the silos. With just one push of a button, they're gonna be released on the planet Earth. Continuing on, it says, he hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so through the Spirit, the elder poured out that Isaiah 54, how the Lord put the Spirit on these different Temanites to really create a weapon that would destroy themselves. But not even that. You can just go into Oppenheimer. You watched the movie recently. One of the biggest quotes of that movie is he said, I have become death, the destroyers of worlds. Because he knew the capability of these nuclear missiles will actually end their current kingdom. Because even then, once you watch that movie in Oppenheimer, they tried to make Einstein like he was like, I'm not with it. Einstein was disappointed because he knew that the missiles that you was going to use to scare everybody, the thing that you was going to use to try to pump fake upon the planet Earth, those is going to be the same thing that you kingdom. We can jump down to verse 15. It says, he hath made a pit and digged it, and is
Mm.
falling into the ditch which he made. Yes. So again, you made the weapons of mass destruction again to try to make your kingdom be on top. But the same thing you use to get on top is going to be the same thing the Lord is going to make fall on you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it says his mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealings shall come down upon his own pate. And that's the spirit because this guy he's known for bombing the whole planet Earth. You know, was the guy Rush Limbaugh? He made a statement a couple years ago, like, "Yeah, man, we could just start flying wars from Orlando, Florida." And what he was talking about was these different drone attacks that this devil do in the Middle East, man. And there's a lot of collateral damage that comes with the things that Esau pushed forth on the planet Earth. The Lord is having all that built up. So when the missiles get put on you, it ain't gonna be no say so. It ain't gonna be what Esau. No, it's gonna be well deserved, man. Because you the one that bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You the one that brought this technology upon the planet Earth, and you the one that's using this technology as a weapon, for the lack of better words, man. As your golden goose. But for the lack of better words, the Lord is going to make that same thing end everything that you built up in 1 hour, man. You know,
Beautiful.
that was pretty much it on that.
Hey, can we grab Judges 5 and 11? Mm-hmm. That also land back on that point with this being arrows shot.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the book of Judges 5 and 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water.
And right there, need no further reading, because the noise of the archers don't make much noise. It's usually like a,
Mhm.
they're noiseless. But there's a noise that these archers are going to make because these are ICBM thermonuclear weapons. They're loud. They come with big bangs. They shake the earth. So it's referring to us being here in the land in which we need to be delivered from, which simultaneously comes together in the great work of the Lord to have us here in captivity in the same place he is returning his son to deliver us, coming from the east, right? I believe it says like lightning, you know.
Mhm.
So Yahushua is coming back to deliver those that are dwelling in the land of the noise of the archers. And then it says in places of drawing water, slaves draw water. So it was a proof that we would go off and then we would be in the latter years in another situation of captivity here in America. But that's it on that. There also was scripture. Let me see. Joel 2. Go back to Joel 2 and read verse 3.
Joel 2 and 3. It says, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as a garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness.
Because
Yea,
when
and nothing.
these, yeah, because you can go ahead and finish it out.
It says, yea, and nothing shall escape them.
Yeah, when this destruction comes, it devastates everything it touches. Think about that thermonuclear fire. We went over it. Thermal radiation. You know how hot that is, hotter than the surface of the sun, thousands times that much heat, able to, while they stand upon their feet, burn you. The works of their end shall be burnt with fire. So this is a devastating to the point where everything that was beautiful, the land of Eden was paradise. So as you look at America and the landscape of it, it's all mountainous. It's certain parts of it is nice. It's very nice, man. You got certain lakes, you got underground caves. All right. You got gold mines in America, you got all kind of things, man. But then once that destruction hits, it's a desolate wasteland. And then nothing shall escape. So then we're going into them same horses and the horsemen. There's multiple names for these arrows, but they have the same job to devastate and create a wasteland situation for Babylon, America. Can we get Revelations 20 and I'm with you. Let me see where 7 says. Okay, let's go down to 10.
Revelation 20 and 10, it says, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.
So this is the devil that deceived now is cast in a lake of fire. You know, what would that sound like? Satan going down to hell? That's how maybe IUIC would break that down. But what that's talking about is America is that lake of fire. And that devil is Esau Edom. He's been deceiving the earth. You know? And so there you go. That's where that torment happens. So it's a lake of fire. Why? Because fire flows like water when you watch fire. You know, but it has that power to burn up everything. It's also fire also like grows too fast. And so that Sarah Connor's dream, man, is about to come to a real reality. Bro's holding anything?
Yeah, I got some.
Go ahead.
Just going back on that point, as you mentioned about it turning to water, in the Psalm 58:7. Yeah, and I started verse 6. So it says, break their teeth, O Yahweh, by Shema Shah in their mouth. And this is, of course, speaking about Esau, his military. Break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Lord, Yahweh Shema Shah, and let them melt away as waters which run continually. Right? Because as we read in 2 Peter 3rd chapter, all the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So this is where you get your lake of fire from in the book of Revelation. You know, the devil that was cast into the lake of fire, you know, Esau, that's this man's kingdom being dissolved. All right. And the only thing that can do that is a weapon that's able to get hotter than the core of the sun at its blast, man. That's the nuclear weapons. So all these people here are going to melt away. And we also read about, you know, the vaporization in Zechariah 14:12. You know, your eyes consuming away, your tongue consuming away while you stand up on your feet. So, hey, all the scriptures is highlighting, you know, this great destruction. All right. And America melting. So it says, let them be as cut in pieces, as a snare which melted. See, let every one of them pass away like the untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun. All right. So yeah, this is how Esau's kingdom gonna fall. It's gonna melt away with a terrible destruction, as the Lord calls it. It's gonna be a cruel destruction, as you read in Isaiah, I think 13th chapter. So nothing here is gonna remain. It's gonna be desolate. You know, that besom of destruction that we read earlier, those thermonuclear winds. You know, we read about the fire tornadoes and all that going on. You know, it's gonna be a terrible day. The sky blacked out, the sun blacked out, right? So very terrible day, man. Who can abide but the elect? Who gonna escape that? Y'all got it.
Yeah. Can't shelter in place. Can't hit a bunker. Can you grab Psalm 7 and 13? It's just not safe without fear of the Lord. And he's ushering this in. Go ahead.
Psalm 7 and 13, he also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordained his arrows against the persecutors.
That's it. Ordained, and showing you, look that word ordained up real quick.
Kind of this word ordained. Let me see. He ordained him, strong 86466. It says to do, to make. Strong's definition, to do or make.
That's it. To make them. You know, order basically them. So he's got full control over these arrows when they shoot out. They're ordained. Even the destruction is ordained. That's why, you know, 2 Petersburg was reading it earlier. Talk about fire. You know, they's kept in store for the fire. Everything is ordained. You can't go nowhere. You can't move. You know, even down to the economy is not easy for people to get up and leave. You couldn't leave if you wanted to. You just, everything's being ordained for that destruction. And they're reserved. The scriptures tell you the ungodly reserved for fire. So they stay alive just for this purpose right here to be fulfilled. Can you grab Matthew 24 and 29? Yeah, it's about to go down, man. Literally and figuratively.
Matthew 24 and 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken.
The stars falling from heaven to shake the powers of heaven. You know, that's twofold. Powers of heaven is Esau, Edom. And of course, the stars falling is the ICBMs. So everywhere you look, Esau, Edom is being attacked in this last day scenario, and he's ruling the world. Why is he trying to do so violently to Esau, Edom? Because everything they did to deserve it. Can you grab Isaiah 33 and 1? This is a justified order of the wrath of the Heavenly Father, and he's not wasting one missile or warhead. Go ahead.
The book of Isaiah 33 and 1, it says, Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. So when thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they should deal treacherously with thee.
Yeah, you're going to cease to spoil, meaning the Lord's going to take away the wise man. He's going to take away your might, your strength. And of course, the weak are saying they're strong. All these smaller countries are now nuclear capable. They've learned the secret recipe. You want to Esau off your back, get a nuke. I think the last country I heard buying weapons was in Cambodia, one of them Asian countries, man. You would never think but they just heard the recipe. They watched and saw, the deceptions of Esau Edom, and then they realized, man, we need weapons. And they going for missiles. They not going for people skipping over tanks just to get the missiles. New day. So yet the Lord got to spoil Esau and waste him. And the way he gonna get spoiled is with their fire. Can we grab Sirach 39 and 28? Sirach 39, 28.
Book of Sirach
39.
39 and 28. And it reads, Sirach 39 and 28, it says, There be spirits that are creative of vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes, and in the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. It goes on to say fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance.
You see, fire's on that list. You're talking about the wrath of the Lord being appeased with sore strokes of fury and vengeance. Go ahead.
The teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction.
There you go. The sword has to do the punishing here. And that appeases the Lord to see Esau eat him. Remember, he said, I hated Esau. Zephaniah 1 and 18. Just running through the list now, man. Bro's holding anything, feel free. We almost gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I should have this one on deck.
Zephaniah
1:18. Neither their silver.
Hey, you got it too.
Neither their silver nor their gold should be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. Because basically, as we already have found out, everything here on the landscape of America will be dissolved. So it's not like you can get money and build a bunker that's deep enough to hide from the missiles. You got bunker buses and so on and so forth, and it's going to be such an overwhelming presence of missiles that is just going to consume everything. All right, sucking up all the oxygen. So there's going to be many ways to die when the missiles hit. But it says, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. See? Because really, when the Lord, the reason why the Lord's going to bring so much terror on America is because of his blatant neglect and rebellion against the Most High and his chosen people. They have completely disregarded, the Lord's jewels that they have stolen. and his word. They have forgotten about the Most High. And this is why you see rebellion at such a height like never before. So you got to expect that recompense or that destruction to be that much more greater, even greater than Sodom and Gomorrah. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. So Revelation 18 links up with that as far as it being destroyed in 1 hour. The merchant ships, those who did deals with America going to stand up for off, for the fiery torment, because once it hits, the whole earth is going to shake. As you read in Isaiah 24, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. So at that point, all nations will be, like the Lord said, everything's going to shake in my presence. So it's going to be televised, and there's smoke going up. Everybody going to be able to witness it, man. And that's going to be the remembrance of America, Babylon the Great, for all generations to look back upon and be like, you don't fuck with the Most High. Yeah, got it.
Beautiful memorial, man. The last one I got, 2 Ezra 5:42. Just to add to that speedy riddance that the Lord's going to do in that 1 hour, brothers. It's been prophesied, man. We get to come to this at the end where the prophecies are already laid out, man. And all we have to do is we call back to understand them, and we call back to teach them. And this is a part of prophesying, the foolishness of preaching. It says that, and there was power in that. Go ahead, Al.
2 Ezra 5:42, and he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring, like as there is no slackness of the last, even so there is no swiftness of the first.
No slackness of the last. And what we learn about is these are the last days, right? The scriptures told us that in the last days, peace will be taken from the earth because of this red, devil, this red horse. All right, so this is why the Lord is bringing it down with violence, and this is why the lake of fire has to happen. This is why judgment has to happen, and it's a swift judgment. We ain't get it, but burn as an oven. It shall be likened unto the oven, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. All of these bombs, man, the Wasong 15 and 17 missiles, the DF 41s, the R-36s, the Poseidons, we spoke about them. The east wind. Okay, more fatalities are going to happen. But it's all a part of the Lord's judgment and justifying. He's justified in doing it because Esau, Edom is the wicked. And the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, but for a short period of time. The triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. So what's that moment? What's that quickness? What's that shortness? It's how fast he's going to get taken out. Seeing like lightning falling from heaven. So Esau's reign is pretty much going to end quicker, much faster than how it began. But if any brothers got anything else, want to make any statements? If not, we're just going to give. Oh, go ahead.
I just ended off with this. Well, I'll just get my research. Revelation 2 and 11, just concluded. It says, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh should not be hurt of the second death.
Beautiful.
And so, this is the word that's going out, through the churches. And we say we a great millstone we have with the testimony of Yahweh Shai. This is why we always warn about the thermonuclear destruction, because that's going to be the second death. The first one was the one that was, as you just read, there was no swiftness of the first. That was during the time of the flood. 40 days and 40 nights it rained. But the last one is going to be no slack in that. An hour, America's going to be thrown down. So pretty much the message is urgent. You're not going to be hurt of the second death, which means that those who overcame this current world, you resisted Esau's advances, philosophies all the way down into his chip. It speaks about that and how eventually when Yahweh Shai does pop up, hey, you're going to be lifted up with him. You're going to be changed in the twinkling of an eye, and you're going to be able to witness the destruction from an aerial view. And this is a part of the elect's delight, man, to be saved and to look down and be like, we escaped the Wadiyam Bashim Shai. So, the second death is just a thermonuclear destruction of America, Babylon the Great, man, that we do not want to experience at all. Y'all got it.
Yep. Hey, Ryan.
I could just quote it real quick, like it says in that is in the book of Isaiah, enter into thy chambers, into the indignation, be overpassed. You know, so like the priest was just mentioning, we hoping to be delivered from that second death, man. You know,
That's it. That's it. From the noise of the, deliver from the noise of the archers. So it's already written that there's going to be a great salvation in that day. And that's a super great salvation to be delivered out of thermonuclear fire. Scripture said the righteous shall scarcely be saved. So even at the last moment of detonation, even, I've heard brothers mention that it's possible for the fire to even, just touch you. And the Lord just pull you up out of it right at the end, which would be that's a frightful idea, thought to have. But salvation is just that. It's gonna be scarce, and you're gonna know in that day that the Lord reigneth in the kingdom of men for sure. That's what the rest of these people will know. All right, so we're just gonna end it there. Abaratazal, Lord Willens, video is edifying. We want to give all glory, honor, and praises due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to our apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone, the ones that rule all over the flock of Israel. Abaratazal, this lesson was edifying. Until next time, Shalom to Abla.
Shalom to Wabaila.
Shalom to Abla.